So today I'm going to show you how to construct a tower garden. Tower gardens are vertical gardens where vegetables grow on the sides and on top. At the ARC, we construct two types of tower gardens. We have the urban tower garden and the rural tower garden. The urban tower garden is where it's for people who are willing to spend money. For the rural tower garden, because of most people do not have that much money, they use the locally available resources. So for the urban tower garden, what we need, we need a container, and then you make holes on the side. You drill holes on the side, and then we also put a tube, PVC tube in the middle with stones. And the reason for that is that we make perforations here, and then when we construct the tower garden, when you irrigate here on top, and then the water will go to the bottom, and then the vegetables will get water from the side. We make perforations on the side and also at the bottom. At the bottom, to prevent the growing medium from coming out, we use the strong plastic. So after that, then we add the growing medium in the form of a pine bark, and then yes, yeah, we use pine bark. We don't add fertilizer. We just use pine bark because the vegetables will get nutrients from the pine bark. But then in the case of rural tower garden, we normally use the 4 meters of 80% shade net. We use 4 poles, wooden or metal poles on the side, and then we need soil, crawl manure, ash, and stones in the middle. And then each of these ingredients have a role. Like for the soil, it acts as a growing medium, but then we also need nutrients from crawl manure, and then from the ash we get nutrients such as potassium, and also because in the rural areas, most farmers do not have access to clean water. They can use the water that they wash dishes with, water with soap. So that wood ash will neutralize the soap. And then after we mix all those ingredients, soil, crawl manure, and wood ash, in the form, like if you add 2 wheelbarrows of soil, you can add 1 wheelbarrow of crawl manure and 1 wheelbarrow of wood ash. And then what happens is you put that mixture, you also add water. You put mixture on the side, and then if you use shade net, 80% shade net, you put it at the bottom, and then throughout, as the tower garden fills up, you pull it up. And then when it reaches the top, even with the stones, you fill the stones, you normally we put them in the middle, in the bucket, then you pull the bucket, and then you add stones, you pull the bucket, at the same time pulling the shade net. And then once you are done, then you cut the shade net with a knife, and then you start planting your vegetables. Normally on the sides we plant light vegetables such as spinach, and then on top on each pole, in the case of a rural tower garden, you will plant tomatoes, and then for each tomato, then you will tie it to a pole. In the case of urban tower garden, even on top, you can plant root vegetables such as maybe tomatoes, onions, beetroot, and carrots. But then because in this case we don't have poles, it will be difficult to plant many vegetables, maybe such as tomatoes. Maybe you can just plant 1 tomato seedling, and then maybe you can tie it here. Some people, they plant root vegetables such as carrots, beetroot, and onions. But then maybe they might work in the urban tower garden. In the rural tower garden, the challenge is that when you harvest, then you have to make the hole bigger. In a way, then you damage the tower garden. Then on top, we also plant the spinach on top, in this case, and then because we are trying to save water, then you put mulch on top to reduce evaporation. So the advantage with this, with the tower gardens is that it improves food security. Even if you have a little space, maybe you live in a flat, you can put it on a balcony, and then you will still be able to harvest your vegetables. But please make sure that you put it where there is sun and air so that vegetables can photosynthesize. And then another advantage with the tower gardens, especially in the rural areas, is that it addresses most challenges that the small-scale farmers are facing. Challenges such as lack of infrastructure, because even if you don't have a fence, if you construct a tower garden next to a house, you can monitor it and then ensure that the roaming livestock don't feed on the vegetables. It also addresses the issue of lack of production inputs such as fertilizers, because they have crawl manure, or they also have crop residues. They can just mix with the soil and construct a tower garden. And another challenge is the issue of drought. Even if there's no water, they can use the water that they wash the dishes with to irrigate. And then in that way, then will improve food security and also contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals and the National Development Plan.